Welcome to For the Artists, a podcast brought to you by Creative and Projects. I'm your host, Melissa Sharee, here with Grammy Award winning producer, your other host, Eric Seats. And today we have a very special feature artist. Yes, I love it when I can say special because they're my friends. But we have Shante Deloache. She's joining us.
Hi.
Well, you guys might be listening, but you also might be watching. I'm gonna read a quick intro of her bio. So y'all bear with me because I like to read these bios. It's important, okay? You have accomplished some things. Now, Shantae,
Melissa, before you read her bio,
yeah.
your sound is like going in and out, I guess, because you lean in so close.
Oh shoot.
So just if you try to stay steady, we won't miss some of the words.
Okay, I'm gonna try to stay still, y'all, because you know what I noticed every time we have a podcast, I move too much, and my sound is the only one that's like up and down. Try to calm down. Try to relax. Here we go.
Woosah.
Shantae grew up performing in the theater and has appeared in a multitude of productions, including The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Bash, and The Vagina Monologues, and that's just to name a few. She came to us in Cali by way of Tucson, Arizona. She relocated here to attend AMDA College and Conservatory of the Performing Arts, and she now splits her time between LA and Atlanta. She's the administrative director of 11 Story Productions, a company focused on producing little known works and original content with diversity and inclusion in mind. And she most recently can be seen playing Gwen in A Christmas Love Story on Hallmark Channel. So those of y'all that love watching them Hallmark movies, I know y'all. In addition, she is half of the podcast of 6 Feet Forever. I love that title. That delves into unsolved crimes and mysterious happenings in communities of color around the globe. And I want to thank you for being here, girl, because I know today is also a day that you record your regular podcast. So welcome.
Oh wow!
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So, C's, we're going to start off by asking Shantae to take us back to the beginning. What's
Nice.
that song? Let's start at the very beginning. Okay, y'all, it
I don't
doesn't go
know.
like that. Y'all don't know that song? It's from
Not
the
at
sound.
all.
Isn't it from the Sound of Music?
That's why I don't know it.
You
Oh,
wouldn't
you sang
recognize
it.
it.
You sounded real hype when you were singing it. That's from
Yeah,
the Sound of Music.
I just gave it a new beat and everything.
Oh, okay. See, that's why.
Let's go back to the beginning of when you was just a little baby tyke, okay? And what did you see for yourself in terms of dreams? I mean, did you always feel like you wanted to be an actress?
No, when I was a lot younger, I really wanted to be a meteorologist and a storm chaser.
What?
Wow, that's interesting.
So random. But yeah, I've seen the movie Twister like 57 times. I was just like, I was very into the idea of that. And
Wow.
then actually was in a tornado and I was like, you know what? Not for me. But that was what I wanted to do for a long time. And then I think I didn't really consider being an actor for real until I was like my freshman year of high school, and I started the theater program there. I went to an arts magnet school, and so Tucson High, if anybody knows
Okay.
what that is, where that is. But yeah, and so it was, yeah, I was in the theater program all 4 years and did some of the plays there and stuff like that. And so when it came time to graduate, I was like, yeah, I really think that's what I want to do. And so I was originally supposed to go to the University of Denver in their theater program, and that didn't end up working out. But yeah, cut to like years later, I ended up at AMDA out here. I auditioned in at some hotel in Phoenix. They go all around the country and do auditions, and I got in, and I was like, okay, this is it. So yeah, that's so I'd say, probably for at least like 20 years, I knew I've known that's what I wanted to do. And I've probably been pursuing it seriously, professionally since 2013 when I graduated.
Okay. So wait, what's interesting about what you just said to me is the fact that you ended up at an arts magnet school, but you wanted to be like,
Well,
how?
so, and I don't know if it's like this other places. I mean, this is completely unrelated to what we're talking about, but the way that they decided like which high school you went to in Tucson was very, it was supposed to be dictated by like, you know, the neighborhood that you lived in. But
Mhm.
no, it was like, seemed like nobody wanted to go to the school that they were supposed to go to. So you could like put your name on a list, sort of like petition to go to another school. And I think they really ended up they choose by like ethnicity, like how
Mhm.
many white kids are at this school, how many black kids are at this school. So I ended up getting into Tucson High, which is where I wanted to go. I was originally supposed to go to Palo Verde, which is like near my house, and I did not want to go over there because it seemed lame. So, so I
Uh,
did, yeah. I mean, even the junior high school I went to was a magnet arts school, so I was always very artistic and stuff like that in various ways. I think I just didn't realize for sure I wanted to be an actor until probably like 14.
right. That was theater your major? Did you like, was it a performing arts school?
Yeah, so so AMDA is in there's one in Hollywood and then there's another one in Manhattan. I'm sure you've seen it around. But so yeah, it's specifically performing arts. There's an acting program, there's a musical theater program, and then there's a dance program.
Nice. Hey, so do you remember your first role?
My first role,
Yeah.
Ooh, good
oh
question.
Lord. Yeah, so my first role would have been Gisela Bamberger in the play Black Comedy, which is a British farce about, you know, some guy who's like hosting this super famous German like art collector at his house. And it's just so the entire play is meant to take place in the dark.
Hmm.
So the lights are up, but it's like everybody's blind, nobody can see because it's completely in the dark. It's a crazy play. It's very interesting, but
Did you have a leading role?
she was, no, I didn't. I think there were like 5 characters in that show. It was a small production, and then like my character literally came in at like the last 10 minutes of the play.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it was like cool, but I was not super pleased about that part. But it is what it is. Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was a crazy show.
So you decided on theater. Like you chose that
Hmm.
of all the ones. So we're just trying to help, people that might be listening in terms of like getting clear about
Hmm.
the direction that they want to go. So at the point when you decided you wanted to study theater, like how did that unfold? Like did you see for yourself like I want to definitely be a working actress. I want to be behind the scenes. I just want to somehow be in the mix. Like how did that shake out for you?
So I've always known that I guess in the realm of production that I did primarily want to be an actor. I hold other like I guess titles, and I've had experience directing as well, and again like I was saying producing. But so like when I initially started college, when I was still in Arizona before I transferred to AMDA, I was like at a community college taking my prereqs, and I was originally going for graphic design because I knew that I wanted to be an actor, but I also kind of wanted something else to have, in the downtime. And like we all know that what it can be like to be an actor. So I was like, well, I want to make sure I'm doing this. And I was doing it, and I got like part of the way through, and I was like, I don't care about like I cared about it, but I was like, I don't think I want to be, I just want to do what I want to do. And I know that I want to, you know, have a degree in theater. And so I ended up like redirecting myself and doing all that. So I was a bit, I mean, like I said, I knew I loved it. I knew I wanted to do that when I was 14, but it took me until I was already like in college to
Mhm.
decide, actually that I wanted that to be my major. And so yeah, I mean, that's also another aspect to it. Is like you don't have to, just because you want to be an actor or you want to be, an artist in some way, you don't necessarily have to go to college for that.
Right.
Another option that I kind of wish that I had maybe thought of before I moved out here was, I could have moved out here and then taken classes with, various classes with various instructors, just like kind of out in the world, as opposed to, spending all this money for a theater degree. But
Mhm.
it is what it is. I'm not mad at my experience. I'm very grateful for that and the training that I received and the people I've met and the connections I made. But it's really just like, I do want that to be very clear that to younger people that are, considering something like this as a career, that there's not just this one way to do it, that you have to go to college for it. No, absolutely not. You can love something and get your degree in something completely different. It's okay to have a multitude of interests and to pursue those in various ways.
Very well said. And I suggest that anyway, in whatever our fields, is always falling back on something. I wanted to ask you this. So you're on the acting side, but have you ever written?
I do write, yeah. So I actually have a script that I wrote. I think I started writing it about like 4 years ago, and I just finished at the very end of like 2019, before everything exploded. And then so I submitted it. I got very sort of busy, and so I submitted it probably like 3 weeks ago to the copyright office. So I'm waiting for that process for it to be copywritten, and so I can like send it off to like editors to look at, so I can start the table read process, so I can hopefully start pre-production and all of that. So sorry, that was a long-winded way of saying yes, I also write.
I'm in the middle of writing a musical myself. So
oh wow.
Yeah, it's a first time, wearing that hat or being on that side of production, but I'm looking forward to it. It's taken me 10 years, but I'm not.
I mean, a musical is no joke. A play itself, even a straight play, is just like, it's such a process. It's so different than a screenplay. It's like, I had an instructor in college say to us one time, the way she was explaining the difference, she's like, playwright is spelled PLAYWRIGHT. So when you think of like wrought iron, and like how you have to like, it's wrought, it's like put in the fire and like, formed, and it's a very tedious process. And she's like, that is why it's spelled that way. You're writing a play. Right. It's wrought from like your soul. And I was like, oh my God, that always stuck with me. So that on top, adding all the musical aspects to it, I can't imagine. That's pretty amazing.
That imagery and that explanation. And you know what? I feel real good now, Seats, because I started in 2010. I don't know, somewhere in there, 2010, 2012, writing a one-woman show that is not completed. I can't even tell you if I'm in the middle. Because it's like I started writing it, then I realized, oh shoot, I'm still living some of this out. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a transition question, because earlier today I had hopped on Instagram for a second, and I saw that a family member had put a post, and it was a question, and it was like, do you believe that everybody like catches a break? Like, in other words, like divine things happen that are good, you know what I mean? To like just set you up, I guess, for good things. And so I wanted to visit that right now, because one of the things that we had talked about in January, Shante, was the idea that as artists, we do our part to work towards moving in the direction of the things that we want to see, like some of these things that we talked about. And then, God, creator, does another part, the supernatural part that we can't do, to kind of meet us where we're at, to like make these things happen. And then I was thinking about the fact that, it was almost like a lottery. the idea that you were kind of like in this lottery and got placed into this magnet art school, even though that wasn't really on your radar. That's kind of like a divine happening. I don't know if I've heard it explained, but so my question after all that is, in your journey, how can you see seasons or times when you were doing your part and where there were supernatural things happening that helped move what you were doing forward? Does that make sense?
I don't know if that's ever, I guess, not happening. I guess, and that depends, again, what you believe and, whatever. I guess the way that I look at things is that, or the way that I like to believe things is that things are always working out for me in my best interest. So yeah, I look at it like, even just, so I was, living in Atlanta for like a solid year and a half, back from 2018 to 2019. And just like the way that everything fell into place for that to work out. Like before I went, I I was working as an actor here, but on the side, I had like a job where I was, you know, a server in a restaurant in West Hollywood. And I was trying to like get all of the first, I was only supposed to stay in Atlanta for a couple of months. So I was trying really hard to get all of my shifts covered and whatnot. And the way that it didn't happen, I was so mad. And so I ended up having to resign. And I was like, I hate this job. They can all kick rocks. I was so hurt. Like I was so mad because I had been working there for like almost 3 years. And I was like, word, nobody's back. All right. Like I will never speak to you again. I was just like so salty about it. And so then like I went and I kind of just like I went out, I didn't have my car out there. I just kind of like I was kind of really just kind of going by the seat of my pants. And I got out there and one of my friends that I went to college with, he lives out there and I didn't have a car and he was like, oh, do you want to, I have like an extra car like that I just keep in my mom's driveway. Do you want to use that? And I was like, yeah, because I did not know how to navigate Atlanta. Where I was staying was so far away from the city, it would have just been bananas. So like that was like blessings. And I didn't even have that in my mind. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. And just like stuff like that happened for me the entire time I was there. It was just like, it didn't even matter that I didn't have that job anymore. I wasn't even thinking about that. I didn't end up needing it. And so that is like one series of examples. But I think, yeah, I think that things are always working out in our favor if we let them, if we kind of, you know, I guess sort of relinquish tried to have so much control and like white knuckling everything and just kind of get to the point that you can say, okay, you know, I'm going to do my parts, but past that, that's kind of all that I can do. So I'm just going to, you know, let it be and what happens, happens. And I think, and I'm sure you two can attest to this, but like in careers like ours, it's really hard to do that because you are trying to like cultivate this, you know, your career and make it what you want and put out the things that you want to put out. And like, you're doing all these auditions or you're going on all these, I don't know what it is for like singers. Mm-hmm. I don't know but you're like, you know, you're trying to make things happen. And sometimes it's just like, you feel like you're hitting a wall and it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. You know, I did this class, I got these headshots, I spent the money for this and this. And it's just like, why isn't anything happening? And I think kind of for me, when I made that choice, just, you know, it's out of my hands. It kind of, I feel much better about things and a little bit somehow more in control than I did when I was just like, had a death grip on everything, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Do you find yourself, because I know I do, I don't know, but it seems like especially the older we get, and as far as our craft is concerned, do you ever feel like it's more important to start creating the work instead of looking for it all the time? Because you know, I don't know how often your auditions come,
right?
But to not be deterred or, you know, start feeling down about it, and I guess that's where your script would come into play because you are creating future. Right,
and that's the whole reason we created the production company. So when I was in school, so I graduated 2013. Mm-hmm. And so when we were, you know, going through that program, that's kind of where that conversation began. I think it was around that time where it was like, okay, you know, you're going to have to start creating your own work. You have to take your careers in your own hands, and this is going to be partially your responsibility. Some people are very happy about that. Some actors are very gung-ho about that, and they're like, yeah, you know, I've always wanted to do both things. That's not everybody's bag. Everybody does not feel comfortable about that. Some people, that's a really daunting idea for them. And I was one of those people in the beginning. I was like, I don't do these things. Like, I'm not interested in producing. I'm kind of interested in directing, but I don't even know if I don't really want to be writing scripts. That seems like intimidating. I don't know. And then so, you know, luckily that school, it was a really cool program where we got the opportunity to put up sort of like mini productions ourselves. So, you know, I did a couple of those. I like, you know, compiled a play. We put up a play ourselves, got paid for the rights to it and put up a play at school. And so it was like, we got some of the tools to learn how to do that stuff at school. And then we just kind of were like, you know, if this is what we're supposed to be doing, if this is the move now, let's make a production company. And so you know, that's where that came from. But it definitely, I will speak for myself personally, that was not, I wasn't about that when I first was hearing it. It was kind of irritating to hear over and over, because it's kind of like, so what are you trying to say? Like, I'm not gonna get work? Or like, what? Like, it was so we really, it was like nerve wracking. It was, you know, it's frustrating. But I guess to answer your question completely, I think that I don't want to say that's something that I feel like you have to do,
Mhm.
but I think as for a lot of us as artists, as time goes on, we sort of end up doing it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I think we kind of all just get to the point that it's like, okay, well, let me just try this, or like, you know, let me go, you know, PA on this set and just see how, if that's fun or if that's something I'm interested in doing. So I think it's kind of hard in, in an industry where everything is so much based upon collaboration, that you're not going to like dip your toe in some other aspect of this career field. Um, so I think it's kind of, I would say just try.
Mhm.
It's not everybody's bag, but it just gives certain things a try, and you might be surprised.
Yeah, that was answered very well. Thank you.
Yes, all her answers are like boom.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so now Shantae, you have to give us a little bit of you know, backstory, a little behind the scenes on the struggle moments, okay? Like
Oh,
those times
I'm like,
when
girl,
you
which one?
when you were running into obstacles, specifically times where you were procrastinating or never,
You said times when I was procrastinating.
mhm, like intentionally choosing not to do certain things, um, knowing that they were vital or necessary for you to progress and move forward. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Wait, sorry. Okay, wait. Is that a two-part question? Like you want to know about like the struggle, and then you also want to know about times when I've like caused my own struggle,
Yes,
basically.
basically. See, look at that. She even re-articulated that.
Uh,
Boom, a
okay.
girl.
I'm trying to think like, um, okay, here's like a very, I will give you a very vulnerable thing that I went through the other day in terms of struggle. So, you know, there is, you know, times in an actor's career when it's like, you know, there's like feast and famines. It's not always going to be, and this is not, there's always exceptions to the rule, but it's not always going to be like, you know, when you're feeling like a working actor, when you're, you know, I book something, you know, at least, you know, once every 6 months or something like that. Nah, there's times, you know, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the actor Claire Danes. She's done a lot of stuff. She just was most recent, like in Homeland. And I remember reading an article from her a few years ago where she was literally considering other careers. She was like, I was going to learn how to start becoming an interior designer because I hadn't worked for 4 years. She's like, I couldn't get anybody to hire me. His sis has been in so many films. She was like you know, we grew up watching her in movies and stuff like that. And so that is like, that has been a point of contention for me. So the other day I got an audition that was, it was for a big project. And I was super excited about it. It was requiring me to learn an accent. There was a lot of combat involved, which, as you know, Melissa, I'm like that's like my thing. I love that part. And so I was like, I'm getting coached for this. I'm word perfect. Like, I got it. I got it. I got the dialect. One of my friends speaks that language. And so I got the accent work from him. I was ready. And so I was going to do the audition, and everything's on self-tape. Everything's a self-tape now because of quarantine and whatnot. But I could not get it. Like when I was doing the audition, I was losing my mind. I probably did like 27 takes because there was two different scenes. And I was just like, I was not happy. And so I was like, I can't ask my roommate to help me anymore. Like she's going to kill me. I'm just like, whatever. One of those is going to have to be it. So I sent it off or whatever. And the next day I was so bummed because I wasn't happy with it. So I gave myself the day to be upset. And then even the next day, I like woke up and I was like sobbing. And I was like, girl, what is wrong with you? And so I realized, after I really sat with myself and asked myself what was wrong, I realized that it was like, you know, I graduated a really long time ago. When I was at school, I was like a machine. I could have done anything you threw in front of me. I could have done, absurdist theater from, 1937 Germany. Like I was ready. And the fact that it's like, now so many years have passed since I've been in school, and I'm getting these amazing projects now at this point, and I just feel like I'm not even as prepared as I was. Like I'm not at the same, I guess, level. I didn't feel like I was at the same level that I was. And I had so much anger just towards like the career, this career field in general, the casting directors and everybody. And like, it was almost like, why didn't you notice me when I was ready? When I was like, this diamond, just like shiny, waiting to work on anything. Why didn't you notice me then? And I had to really check myself and realize, you are a sum of all of, the parts of your life. So it's like, as an actor, your life, the life that you live, shapes kind of you as an actor. You can do more things. You are better because you've had more life experience. But I just really allowed myself to get in my head, and I was really just very angry about that. And it took me like a couple weeks to get over it, to like rationalize that feeling and let it dissipate. But that's a very real thing that is, and again, that's not going to be everybody's experience. That's not going to be everybody's story, and thank goodness. But it is, the rejection can get to you, the constant, the no's all the time, when it's been X amount of years since you've booked a job and whatever, it can be daunting. And I think it's okay to let that, sometimes take you out, and just, I need a week to just like collect myself and then get back to it. But that's sort of the nature of it. And so I want to be very honest with people about that it's not all like, shiny and pretty. There's those sides of it that it can be daunting. It can be, heartbreaking. It can be frustrating. And you have to, do what you can to keep your head above water in those situations. Something that that's kind of why I laughed when you asked me. I procrastinate a lot. It's a very bad quality of mine. And so I'm like, I'm procrastinating right now. Actually, I have like a bunch of lines to learn for this show that I'm going to be doing in April. And I'm like, I should probably start this, but I'm like, Netflix, there's so many things to watch on Netflix. I'm getting, I will say I'm getting better, but that is one of the things that I do procrastinate with, is like, when do I start learning the lines? I'm working on it.
You're honest.
I'm working on it still. It's because once you start doing it, it's like, okay, got it. But it's like the thought of starting it just feels like, it feels tiring. And so you just kind of got to like work your way up to it.
How do you go about practicing? Like you said, you have these lines to learn by April. Do you practice with someone countering you while you're doing it? I mean, is that
in terms of memorization for something like that, I would sometimes, for the most part, most of it's by yourself. Like breaking down your script and action, putting an action to every sentence and whatever, and your objective and all of this. But I typically learn my lines for the most part by myself, and then I'll have somebody run them with me a few times just to make sure I have it in my body and stuff like that. But in terms of like, for this in particular, like I'm not going to start really probably like rehearsing it, because it's going to be a completely different environment. I don't know who's playing whom yet. I haven't met the rest of the cast yet. So I will probably wait for all of that to play, off of them. But yeah, I'll definitely make some choices and stuff like that before I get to where I'm going to actually perform.
I've always wanted to act, Melissa. I want to do something. I really do. I want to.
Are you writing yourself a role in your musical?
You know what's funny? I'm not. Because I thought that would just be corny.
Why?
It may happen, and it's not too late, I guess. But I would love to. But I guess as a producer, I want to sit back and see it too.
That's fair.
It may happen, but that's something I definitely want to check off the bucket list.
Okay, well, you know what? We might have to set something up. We'll do a little acting on here. We'll do a little.
And next week he's got to come back with a monologue.
Yes, I'm gonna give you some homework. Okay, so Shante, fast forward. Okay, you're like 95 years old, almost the age my grandma got to. But if you looked back over your life at 95, what would you want to be able to say that you accomplished in terms of your acting?
I think looking at it now, what's most important to me is to be able to, I guess, serve others and make some sort of impact in society via my work. So kind of back to what our mission is for our.
We lost Eric, y'all, but hopefully he'll come back into the podcast.
It was the sound. It was the way it powered down like a video game. I was like, what? I think, but yeah, to make us, so I was saying what our mission is for the production companies, to be devoted to, little known works that can highlight, diversity and inclusion and things like that. And that's very important to me. And, as we know, how important representation is.
Welcome back.
My computer battery died on my other laptop, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's nifty.
Hey, it happens. Technology.
Yeah.
Okay, what I missed? Felt like
Shantae,
what was I saying, Melissa?
Shantae's talking about the goals or the vision, basically, of the production company and wanting it to be more about.
All right, on.
Oh.
What is the name of your production company?
11th Story Productions.
Nice. And what's the story behind that name?
So we came up with it based upon the idea that there's, how do they say that? There's really only 10 stories in the world that get retold over and over from different viewpoints and different formats and whatnot, but overarchingly, there are only 10 that get retold all the time. And so the 11th story is just like, yeah.
That's tight. That's super.
She can think of the titles now. Let me tell you, my girl.
I can't take full credit for that. There was 3 other people that we all did that together, but.
Okay, that's fine, but I'm gonna give you credit because I know some of these other titles that you are involved in. So, okay, boom.
But yeah, sorry, I don't even know if I answered the question about when I'm 95.
What do you want to look back and be able to say that you accomplished? Because I'm basically trying to get you to capture like where it is that you intend to go.
Yeah, I think it's really important to me to serve the community that I am a part of with my work. And I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. I hope in some small way I've done that already, and I'm going to continue to do that. But, based upon like other things that are important to me, other things that I want to achieve in the future, I'm super passionate about like sustainability and environmental protection and all of this. So I have some ideas for things I want to do regarding that. So it's just like, yeah, I think to feel that I served my community in some way would be really a nice legacy for me to feel like I have. But I guess in the words of Maya Angelou, like, you don't get to decide what your legacy is. Other people will decide that for you.
Isn't that a trip?
You better say that.
Wow.
I said, a whole word. Well.
But I love that what you see for yourself is much larger than your gift, the obvious acting gift, you know what I mean? Because essentially with the organization, I mean, that's what we're trying to get young artists to aspire to, is thinking beyond just the talent, that they have, the obvious talent, into something that's much larger, that can have a much larger effect on community, big and small. So
right.
Yeah. What was the other thing we asked, Seats? I know what it was. So what are you doing now? This is the last question. Don't worry, we ain't gonna have you. I'll just call you later for that. But it's like, what are you doing now to be able to go the distance in terms of accomplishing all of those things that you want to accomplish in your lifetime? How are you setting yourself up to be successful in that way?
And I guess in terms of my acting career, I just have really taken this downtime that a lot of us have had and really just tried to make sure that I've got my materials in order. I was fortunate enough to just have gotten a new agent for the LA region. So I'm happy I have that in place, making sure that my headshots are where they need to be, that they're edited, that they look nice, that my resume is up to date, and just, being prepared for these auditions, just, to not procrastinate and learn my lines when I was supposed to learn my lines. And, but yeah, I'm just, and again, trying to remain open through all of this and just not, I guess, obsess about, the fact of like, well, we're in this situation and I can't do these things, trying to kind of focus on, what I can do and, where I see things going in the next just maybe like 3 months, as opposed to trying to have a vision for the entire year when we don't really know where we're going to be, tomorrow because of everything. But yeah, so kind of just like, taking baby bites, just trying to take things a little bit at a time.
Perfect.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, see, did you have something?
I'm stuck here, so just pass me really quick. Sorry.
All right, we're gonna.
I lost my question. I had a question, but I lost it.
All right, well, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up anyway. I guess is there anything that you want to promote, Shante, before we get off? I know that you're doing your podcast, 6 Feet Forever.
Yeah. So, yeah, at the moment, that's what I'll promote. Yeah, we're 6 Feet Forever podcast, and we are our podcast essentially talks about true crimes and unsolved mysteries that occur in communities of color around the globe. And so our story always happens at the end of the podcast. The first half of the podcast is kind of like hot topics, current events. She and I talk about, my co-host and I, we've known each other for like a decade, and we've lived together for a large part of that decade. And so we have a very good rapport and whatnot. So I think I like to say it's relatively entertaining, us, our banter back and forth. But so that you can find us 6feetforever.com. You can find us at 6 Feet Forever on Instagram and Twitter. And you can listen wherever podcasts are available.
Nice.
Sweet.
Who do people tell you look like?
I get a couple people a lot. Are you going to say Maya or Jada Pinkett?
I was going to say Maya, yeah. and you guys have like similar spirits as well, too.
Oh, okay. Do you know her?
Yeah, we worked on a couple of things. Yeah.
Is she super kind? She seems like she is.
Yeah, she's like how you see her. That's how she is.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, she's sweet. She's a sweetheart.
That's good to know.
Yeah, that's nice when people are what they appear to be.
Yeah.
They're the opposite.
And
a facade.
Our reputation is precede us. We know that.
For sure.
All right, y'all. Well, we are going to get ready to wrap it up. We have been speaking to Shante DeLoach and
the star.
Huh? Yeah,
thank you guys so much for having me. Huh?
I said I can't move too much.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm Melissa Sharee. I'm with Eric Seats. We will be back again next Thursday, same time, for The Artist. Bye, y'all.
Peace. Thanks for coming, Shante.
Thank you.